Usually at this time of the year I like to argue that goal scoring is a lot harder to come by, but that's not the case this week. If anything, this was one of the weeks where I've seen the most amount of goals. But first off, I'd like to give some credit to some of the WHL representatives at the Kubota Top Prospects game in Hamilton. Connor Zary put up 3 assists for Team White. Great heads-up plays. I recall that second goal by Forster that Zary had the primary on being quite a lovely play, not just by Zary, but that entire line. Gorgeous drop pass leading to a shot that Brock Gould had no chance against. Wheat Kings top D-man Braden Schneider let go a swift wrister, ending up as the game-winning goal. He's really been impressing me as of late as his offensive and defensive aspects continue to get better every game, and Brandon's recent performance had a lot to do with him and Ridley Gregg, who I believe showcased a really good physical performance at the prospect game as well. Jack Finley topped all prospects on the off-ice evaluations. The 6'6" center is an absolute unit. He's really underrated on the Chiefs roster, being shaded by guys like Beckman and Zumak. Expect him to turn heads at this draft. I should also give Brock Gould some credit for having to play the entire game because Nico Dots left the warm-up injured. Regardless of the loss, he played a pretty solid game. That was a fun game to watch, though I like seeing Team White with my Kamloops Blazers, Zary and Garand ending up taking the W with Team White. That was awesome to see, but we're going to get back into league play here. The Brandon Wheat Kings, they have been something else as of late. They're riding a 9-game win streak. 9! I would not have expected this to happen, and you can give a lot of that credit to almost the entire team. But there are a couple I really want to thank for that success. Jiri Patera has been the CHL's best goalie for the last 2 weeks. The Golden Knights prospect has been on another level. 3 shutouts in his last 6 games, 240 save plus efforts. Nothing is getting by the Czech import. The top 2 pairing of Braden Schneider and, I'm really sorry if I mispronounce this, Nathan Salami. I know it's not Salami, but that's how it's spelt. They've been locked down in front of Patera, furthering the defensive dynamo happening in Manitoba. Plus the top 2 lines, when you got guys like Luca Burzan working on the second line behind guys like McCartney, Gutenberg, and Reinhardt, it sets up the opponents for disaster. The Wheat Kings aren't scoring the 4 to 8 goals a night like it seemed like they were a month ago, but the offense has still been incredibly solid with this top 6. Much like Brandon, Kamloops is on another level right now too, with production from unlikely territories. I mentioned how the young guys were getting it done last week, not particularly on the score sheet, but they were playing their hearts out. It's starting to pay off. Caden Bankier notched 6 points this week, getting the chance to play a lot more minutes in these slaughterhouse games. He and his line mates Reese Belton and Dalen Kiefler had an insane week. Zane Franklin has taken over the league lead in scoring, while depth guys like Brody Stewart and Josh Pillar have stepped up their offensive output tremendously. 6 points each after the 2-game homestand versus Tri-City. Enough of the individual production though, Sean Clausen has been putting something in the water bottles of the Kamloops bench. A 31-6 goal differential this week in the 4 games they played. Watch out for the extremely confident Blazers. I was concerned with Everett going into this week. No Fairbrother, no Dawson Butt. He's serving a 12-game suspension for his actions at the end of a loss in Regina, and a couple of new guys that need to find their footing on the new team. Especially after they suffered that 6-3 loss to the Pats, I was a bit concerned. Well, I was caught off guard. They started it off with a 3-2 win over the Rockets, then a slaughter ram over the Thunderbirds, 8-0. Jackson Berezowski with 4 points, and the tough defense limited Seattle to only 14 shots. They then pounced on them again for another 2 points on Sunday, a 2-0 victory, consecutive shutouts for Dustin Wolf. Nice to see this team start functioning again because I was, for about a week there, getting worrisome. Are the Giants finally done hibernating? Are they finally awaking from what seemed to be an eternal slumber? It's looking pretty good, I'd say. The Giants took down the newly assembled Royals this week twice. That's a huge 4 points to keep them in contention for a spot within that top 3 of the BC division. They now sit 3 points behind the Rockets for 3rd in that BC division. Guys like Eric Florchuk and Tyler Berzuzzo have sparked new light in Vancouver. Florchuk had a hat trick, totaling up to 7 points in his first 5 games as a Giant, and Berzuzzo has been a stable addition since the trade with Medicine Hat. Although this team can still improve, proving it after a 4-0 loss to Kamloops on Sunday, but that's arguably the best team in the league right now, so no hard feelings. The defense still needs a touch-up, and I wouldn't be shocked if someone like Byram finally begins to see the score sheet a lot more often. He's proven that he plays his best hockey under pressure and in the playoffs. Should be interesting to see what the Giants accomplish in the upcoming weeks. And then this is a tough one, the Kelowna Rockets. This is an all-time low. Currently, they are without Nolan Foote, Kyle Topping, Liam Kindry, Roman Bozran, and those are just the notables. Plus, Korzak is still suspended. After being embarrassed last week, the wounds still haven't healed for the Rockets, and the wounds keep getting deeper. I mentioned their loss to Everett earlier, but on Saturday they were gobsmacked 7-0 by the lightning-fueled Winterhawks, and then they later lost them again on Sunday 3-2. It's been real tough, but once they get guys like Foot and Topping back, especially Topping, they haven't had him for a while, I think this team will start to get rolling again, because they need it. Top players time. Eric Florchuk is the first one there. His hat trick really guided the Giants that first win over Victoria. They only won 4-1. He was a big piece to a huge 2 points. Caden Bankier, the 16-year-old fourth-line center for the Blazers, he really tore it up this week, especially in those 2 games. He was able to showcase his tremendous skill, and I'm really excited to see this guy into the future. He looks awesome. And the third one, much like Florchuk, Riley Sawchuk, 2 Chucks I guess, but he also had a hat trick and a 4-point night against Medicine Hat. 2 big points for Edmonton. They need to prove that they can take on teams like Medicine Hat, especially as we get deeper into the season. And then our top teams, we got Kamloops, Brandon, Everett, and Portland. If I were to best describe this week, I would have to write a parody of Motley Crue's Girls, Girls, Girls and make it goals, goals, goals. As much as I dislike the band, that is the only way I can describe what was going on this week. I can also say it was shutouts galore. So many, like just blowout galore. I told you guys earlier, I can't believe this is going on right now, but it's still exciting to see, and I hope to see more of it throughout the season. Maybe tone it down a little bit, though. Tone it down a little bit. I have to look through so much scoring to see who's doing well and what's going on. But anyways, hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you guys in the next one.